So we use all of those information. I mean those tools today. So you open up your Excel sheet. Let me get a spreadsheet that we can use today. Okay, we can just use this one as well. Or let me get a budget spreadsheet. No, let's just use this one. So start with subtraction and uh, mm, is the right. Hope you can see my screen well. So arithmetic operations. The first thing we want to look at is how we can do simple subtraction. Uh, you recall last class I mentioned that cells are labeled using their column name and then the row name. So this cell, this one that I'm currently on, is cell D7. If you can also find that information in top left corner here. It shows you the name of the cell, and this is useful because sometimes you need to use those cell names to specify a range, and sometimes you just want to reference a cell value. So for example, I can perform a mathematical operations using those cell values and some operators. So there are a couple of operators that we can use. The subtraction operator is one of those, which is the first thing I will start with. So let's just pick some two random cells, cell C5 and cell G8, right? So if I do G5, why? Let me just copy it. Uh, I said C5, I mean C5 and G8. So to do to subtract, you can just use the subtraction operator, which is just a minus sign on your keyboard. Just type two values and minus in between them. Then when you sorry about that. Oh, hold on. I think I did something earlier on with dates. I don't want date. I just want. G8. Let me just create a new one. Is it because I did this? Yeah, but I don't want that. Right, okay. Right, so to do the subtraction, you click on any cell that you want to perform a subtraction. Then I'm not sure if you do the same thing on your Excel, but make sure you put it in brackets, because it seems like if you type it directly, it gives you well, maybe because I was doing some things with date time before we started the class, so maybe that's why. But anyways, equal to sign that you want to perform an operation, followed by brackets. Then you can type in the values directly in there, then press enter, and it will perform the calculation. Or you can pass in cell values, like cell values using the name of the cells. Alright, someone oh shit, using the name of the cells themselves. So you can do something like cell, I think it was C, okay, B5 minus just any random one, sha. Right, let me type by myself. C5 minus D8, for example. Right, so you see it gives us -2. Let's check. C5 is bouncy 4. D, and I said D8, right? C5 is 4. D8 is 6. 4 minus 6 is -2. So that's correct. Yeah, you can also do, apart from subtraction, you can also do division as well in the same way. So use the equal to sign, bracket, then you pass in either actual values or value, or you pass in the value in the cell by referencing the cell using the cell name. So if you say C5, then you're referring to the value inside of cell C5. So long as it is a numeric value, the arithmetic operation would work. So you can, to divide, you just use the slash. This slash backward, is it backslash? Yeah, backslash, not the other kind. This type, and you press enter is to calculate the result for you as well. So and now you can go beyond this and perform much more complex operations by joining them together. So let's say you want to do something like C5 plus let's say E5 divided by this. Then you now want to divide all of that by E. I'm just picking any random values here. Doesn't matter. All of that by E4. So, and if you click on the cell, you can see the calculation you performed here. This is going to be useful, especially when you are trying to, maybe you are looking for, you are performing some statistical calculations, things like variance, or which is usually common when you are doing stuff like data analysis, variance or standard deviation from all those. So you can do something like this, and of course you can autofill to have it calculate and follow the logic that you have. So obviously you want to build your logic beforehand. As you see here, C5 plus E5 divided by D8. Then the next one, when I autofilled, it went from C, because lexicographically the next one is D. So you go from C to D, you go from E to F. What was that? Oh, someone calling. Sorry, give me a minute. Uh, yeah, sorry about that. Was I hope nobody's in love. Yeah, there's no one in lobby now. What was that? Yeah, so you see, it goes from C to D, then E to F, which is what is here when I autofilled. So it tries to build up the logic up until the point where it fails. and that would typically be because there's no H here. So in this place, we then in this place here, you see that there's no H, no G, no I. That's why it feels why. Ah, Enoch decline. Stop calling me. Is it class? Please give me a minute. I just want to check if things are going well with the other classes. Uh, who is taking that class today? Sorry about that. So yeah, that is how you can use subtract, subtraction, do the subtraction, division, and addition in Excel. Then you can also, and how you can combine them together. So that's how you can do that. Next thing I'll show you is how to sort values in Excel, which is another important thing that you should know how to do. Is sorting values. So let's build a simple table. Let me fetch that. Be a simple table that will show what the importance of this. No, I'm not saying it. I'm coming. Yeah, let's build a table. So we build a two column table as follows. Say BBC one. Basically, a table that describes number of of views on different shows in a channel. So build one for BBC and another one for ITV. You can call the channels or whatever you want, but I'm just calling it that. So we'll use this to show how we can use charts in Excel. Number of views, then channel here. Channel, I be sorry, shows. So let's see, National Lottery. You can replicate this as well. Either you type the exact same thing I'm doing, or just think of some shows, maybe on some channels that you watch. I'm just typing from some online source that I found. Ground. Yes, if I you want to say something. Sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's well, preferably so that you be in the flow. But oh, I'm fast. Sorry. Oh, okay. Don't worry. Just do what you can. Just do what you can. Try your best. So this number of views is in millions. I won't type. Should I type more? Let's make it one, two, three, four. Let's make it six. There's a lot more, but I'll stop it. I won't make it go more than six. Why is there always an underline? I don't want this. Any Henry. Okay. So now this one 6.27 million, 6.33, 6.34, 6.71, 6.99, and 7.03. Right. So let's make another. I don't need this. I merged too much. I just need two columns for this. I can remove this one. Right. And let's center this, make it bold. Can leave these as they are. Yeah, so our table looks pretty nice. Now, one thing that you can also do is you can copy entire tables. So you see this small table here. I can copy everything as it is. Instead of me to start typing the exact same because we need two tables, right? Instead of me to start doing the same thing, then not that we need two tables to make a chart. Oh, I just need two tables right now to show you guys something. But instead of me to type the second one from scratch again, I can copy this whole thing. So how you do that? Like I said, Control C and Control V they work here. Just highlight everything in your table. Press Control C. You see that this thing goes around it and is moving, showing you that you made a selection. Then you click on another cell where you want your what you paste to start from. So you see how this one starts from this cell A20 and ends at cell B27. I'm clicking here saying that start from cell D20 and spread out wherever all of what I paste spreads out to. So just press Ctrl V and then you see it pasted all of it for me. Obviously it's kind of squashed, so I can increase the width of these columns here, and it's that simple. So all I need to do is just edit the name. So this is another TV station called ITV. Number of views, different shows that they have. Who wants to be a millionaire? Heartbeat, Brad, the Bill. Champions League. 10.99, 6.54, 6.37, 6.31. Right. Okay, let me change the background of this one to yellow. Change text black. Aha. So we have two TV stations, right? BBC One and ITV. We see there's a show. So this table basically details the number of views that each show has on each channel. So and now, well, we don't know if it's like on a daily basis or on a monthly basis, but we don't really care anyways. We just have this and it tells us how many views each show has, right? What do you people notice? Oh, yeah, what do you notice about the values in BBC One here? Forget the name of the show, but like these values here and these values here. What do you notice about the order that they come in? Or what's different between the way the numbers are sort out? Okay, saying sorted kind of gives it away, but yeah, what do you notice about the way the numbers are sorted or arranged in both tables? Anyone? In B- exactly. So one of them is in descending order, the other one is in ascending order. Or like she said, it's decreasing upwards for BBC One if you read it upwards, and this one is decreasing downwards. So that's how it is. Now let's say we now wanted to make this one match this one. How do we do that? We can use the sorting functionality that Excel gives us. So what to sort values, let's play around with these values that we have here first before we come down here, and I'll show you something. So let's do it here. Say we sort on Monday. Let's say we want to sort based on how many which sneakers. We are ignoring Tuesday to Saturday. Let's just say this is all we have, all of data we have. We now wanted to sort to see which chocolate we ate the most. Obviously, from inspection by using your eyes, you can see that Snickers is the one we ate the most on Monday. But let's say we had like hundreds of lines to read through. That could be more challenging. So we can use the sort feature to find what the biggest number is. So what you do is you highlight those values, right? The values you want to sort. Now you take your cursor up to this sort and filter thing. When you click on it, you see sort ascending, sort descending. Sort ascending meaning that the values, just like you said, will read when you read it downwards, it will increase as you are going down. Sort descending means the opposite, that when you are reading it downwards, it will decrease as you are reading downwards. Namely A to Z or Z to A, if that makes any sense. So if we sort ascending, what we expect is that the number at the top will be the smallest and number at the bottom will be the biggest. If we sort descending, number at the top will be the biggest, number at the bottom will be the smallest. That's how it is. So what we are looking for, we don't really care the order it is. Let's just say we want the what uh we want the biggest number to be at the top. So that means we'll click sort descending, meaning no big as we go from top to bottom, numbers will decrease, right? So if I click sort descending, just click on just sort. If that comes up, you see it sorts the data for us, right? But then it could skew with I don't know if that's correct English to say, but it could screw up the order. So like now we only sorted the values, but how do I know what associated chocolate, chocolate is associated with what value? Because now I've changed the order in which they originally appear. And if we check, let's Control Z, we see that Cadbury was three, but when you sorted three, this value three will come to Bounty, which is a lie, or what they call false positive, which is a lie because Cadbury is in fact three and Bounty is two. But then we only saw the values, so the order has changed. Now, if I'm reading that and looking to my left to see, okay, which value is which, why am I using the word value? Like, which value has what quantity, then becomes a problem because I know for sure that what I'm reading is wrong. So the correct way to do this, if you have labels attached to your numbers, if you have labels like by labels I mean if there's an associated name or tag with some value and you want to sort, it's best to highlight both the name and the value all through your entire table, and then you sort. That way, it will carry that entire row to the correct position. It won't be the case that your like when we sorted here, Cadbury is three, but if you sort four, three, three goes to Bounty. So you won't have that sort of discrepancy. You have the correct things. So you highlight the entire table here, go to sort descending, and you see that the values will align with themselves. Ugh, let me do that again. I don't know why I think. Why is it not? Let's try that again. Probably does it work? Okay, hey, fine. Okay, so it seems like it's also trying to sort this. What's it called? The characters. Let's try some. Let's just highlight what is in chocolate types and see what happens when you click sort. So ascending, just sort. Right. So it's using the order in which letters appear to sort them as well. But okay, I think there's a way to. Let's click on custom sort. Yeah. So just click. This is extra work, but sure. Let's do it. So what you do is, like I said, it's still the same idea. Just make sure you highlight everything. Uh, go to sort. Apparently, you can't just do sort. Click on sort ascending or sort descending here. But to do it, click on custom sort. I hope you guys see that option in your own Excel too. Click on custom sort to bring you to something like this. You choose the column that you want to sort based that you want to sort the rows based off on or based on my English is failing me here. But you need to click on the column, choose the column that you want your sorting to be based on. So we don't want to sort based on chocolate types. We want to sort based on the numbers, the quantity that we ate, right? So we choose Monday, which is the name of that column that has all those values. We are sorting on cell values, not all these. You, there. These are the other options. You have cell color, font color. We don't really care about those. We want the cell values, and the order in which we want to send sort is sort descending because we want the biggest number to show on top. And you click on OK, and yeah, you see it does justice to it. So now we have the correct thing. Seems like I already messed up. Cadbury was three before, but because I sorted this, okay, let me see if I just do just yeah, this is the normal. So this is what we expect. Bouncy is four. Bouncy is what we ate the most. Cadbury is three. Milo is all like that, like that. Do you guys get this part? What I'm saying, especially in regards to why you need to highlight name and value before you do the sorts, because if you sort the values alone, the values will go on their own and they will leave their associated labels. Do you guys get this part? Why is it only two people that are talking? Others don't call. Someone's join. Okay, nice. I spent that much time. Right, so let's now go to the main stuff. S- Let's now get to the main part. So this main part here, we'll do the exact same thing. So you recall that we noticed that values are sorted in ascending order in this BBC one and in descending order in this ITV. So we want to sort this one just like this. So we'll highlight over it. We'll go to sort. Make sure you don't click on this one because it probably won't even work, or if it works it will just mess up the sources, but we don't want that. We want to sort based on the values, right? So we go to custom sort. We choose the column that we want to sort based on, which is number of views. We are sorting based on the cell values. Then you choose the order you want to sort on. So we want to sort in descending order because we want the value on top to be the biggest one. Click on OK, and voila, it looks exactly like this now, because now when we read it downwards the values will be going down. And now we know that Henry is the one with the highest number of views in BBC One. This is our own first version of analysis one, because this is kind of what you do in data analysis. You take a lot of data, you read it using all of these interesting operations and try and make sense of the data. So now we can write a report and say for sure, Lemmy Henry is the smallest one, and all of those other information that we can do. Now another thing that we can do. So we know we saw how to do totals last time, right? And here, if I wanted to calculate the total, let's say we see total views. Why is he always putting underline on that? Anyways, we type in totals in this cell. Let's say we wanted to write the sum. So we know how to write sum. I believe everybody knows how to sum things up now. So equals to sum followed by, you can type it directly inside here as well. Sum bracket followed by the cell you want to do. You specify the range, right? This is cell B22 to cell B27. Uh, B22 to B27. You close the bracket, press enter. You see it as calculated. So we know that in total was what's it called? The total number of views is 39.78. Now we can also calculate average using the average function. So the average number of views, how is number how or rather the question that average answers, or the average function answers, is if we share the total number of views evenly across all channels, how many views will they each get? Right? It's like the spread of values across all the channels. And to do that is just mean in maths class, if you've taken any maths class before. Otherwise the formula is pretty much the same as eh? What did you say? Yeah, I'm not miss if I don't know why I said it. Yeah, I said the average. Okay, yeah. So the average is telling you what the spread of values is across all those channels. The spread of total number of views across the channels. So we're just taking this total and spreading it evenly across all channels. That's what mean or average is. So to get the average, you get the total sum, then you divide by the number of channels. total sum or total number of views across all channels. Sorry, all shows. Why am I saying channels? All shows in channel BBC One is 39.67, right? So the average value will now be 39.67 divided by, so this is where we use our division operation, divided by 8. Sorry, did I say 8? How many channels are there? 6. Sorry, how many shows? So divided by 6. Uh, we need to be like before. We need to put that what's it called? Equal to and brackets. So make sure you put it like that. So this is the average value, 6.6 uh 6.61 blah 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 blah. So this is one way to do it, but you can imagine that if you have like 1,000 different shows, and like this, imagine this table was 1,000 lines long, how would you easily compute that value, that stuff, right? So you can easily do that using the average function as well. But generally, what the average function is doing is what I just explained. The formula is the exact same. Is total sum plus divided by the number of values that you have there. Is average and mean is the same thing. So it's the spread of values across, spread of values across your data set. So to use the average function, just like the sum function, we use equal to sign followed by sorry, give me a minute. Yes, followed by average. So type average. Don't specify being 22. So the range of values is from here to here. I don't. So I always have to type it from the beginning again. Let me see if this one. So you can directly type it in the cell, or you can just use this FX tab here, like we used in last class. But anyone is fine. So equal to average being 22 to being 27, right? I hope I'm in the right cell. So and then press enter, you see that it gives us the exact same value as when we manually did it by ourselves. We did the sum, we added everything together, which is this one, then divided by the number of rows, and we got the average value. So that's how you can do average as well. You might also need to round up values. So like now, you may need to, you see that this one is giving us how many decimal places now? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 9. We may or may not need this information. This information depends on something called what do they call that thing? I think allowed error. No, not allowed error. Precision, basically. In science, there's a, can't remember, I took that class in year one or so. But there's this error. It's not error, but to simplify it, basically you need the number of decimal places you need is dependent on how precise you want that value to be, or how sensitive that information is to whomever it is that requires that data. So this one now, why is it okay? Let me just copy it. 6.61. Let me write it somewhere. 6.61166. How many sixes are there? 5 1 7 now, right? For the most part, this is useless. So let's try and quantify it. Let's use something like a measurement. So yeah, if you measure something on with a ruler, your ruler is calibrated into, so if you have it's in centimeters, right? So each tiny line between, so from zero, I think it starts from 0 to 1. I mean, each line, let's say it starts from 1, I'm not sure, but let's say it starts from 1 to 2, 3, downwards like that. Those tiny in between lines, they are a tenth of each centimeter in your, so that's like 1 centimeter divided by 10. Then you have 10 lines in between 1 and 2. Now, you can if you are trying to measure something so small that it's not up to a centimeter, your values will be, you'll be using those tiny lines in between to measure that very small thing that's not up to a centimeter. It doesn't go for something that doesn't go all the way from 1 to 2, so you'll be using those tiny lines. But then, and so if and that's fine, because this is each position here is a tenth away from, it's like you are dividing by 10 as we go down this line, right? So imagine that, so if you're measuring something that's smaller than a centimeter, then you can use that small lines. But let's say that between two of those small lines, I wish I had a ruler to visualize this, but between two of those small lines is where the end of where Jesus, how do I explain this? Do you guys get what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying so far? You have a ruler. I don't know if you've ever measured anything with a ruler. Right, you're lost. You know what? Just forget it. All you need to know is that this info, this 6 6, this all these long numbers here, you may or may not need it, depending on what you are trying to do or what you are trying to measure. Sometimes you might need 4 decimal places. Sometimes you might need 6 or 7 decimal places, depending on the kind of data that we are dealing with. But this is too long. And if you want to round it up or round it down, there's a round function that you can use. Round up or round down function that you can use. Actually, I'll link something that explains all these decimal number places to you well. There's a tiny bit of math in data analysis that you need to, don't let that scare you. It's just small math like this one I'm saying here. And so yeah, there's a round function that can help us to deal with something like this if we want to round it down or round up. So you may or may not know, but if you round up to, let's say, 4 decimal places, the answer will be 6.6117. Anything, so if because we're rounding up to 4 decimal places, that means we want four numbers to be at the back of the decimal point, right? So if we now the very last one, what the value of the very last one can be one of two things. It can be the what we are seeing, which is 6, like that, but or plus Jesus. So right, I'm trying to explain this to people that don't know how to round up or down. Just give me a minute. So let's say this was a 5 actually. Let's say or 4. Let's say this was a 4. So if it was 6114, yeah. No, not this one. Let's say this one was a 4. If it was 6115 and they said round up to 4 decimal places. So if you are here, this very last value, what would determine whether this number will change or not is what is on the right side of it. So the very next number, or what is on the right, or the very next number is 4. If the number on the right is 5 upwards, then you can add 1 to the last number that you take. So we've already taken 5, 6115, right? But our work is not done completely because they said we should round up. So we'll now check what's on the right. Can we round up? We can't because it's 4 that is here. So we can't round up. If it was 5 that was here, then we can round up to 6. We'll add 1 to it. If it was let's just say it's 5. If it was 6, anything from 5 upwards will allow us to round up here. And you see what will happen now when I use that round function. So I think our time has almost finished. Okay, let me send. I will send another meeting link now. Time has ended for this first call. Please join again when I send another meeting link to the channel. Hello. Uh, it's okay. So, well, as I was saying, we'll use the round function to fix this. So there's a round function first of all, and let's see what that that will do for us. So let's see this round, and as you are even typing, you see round the number to a specified number of digits. So passing the number, it takes in two things: number and num digits, which is the number of digits to which we want to round. So if I say round this to four decimal places, if I press enter, you see it makes sure that after the decimal place there's exactly four numbers. So which is 6.6115. There's four numbers after the decimal points, right? And now there's also round down here. So round down, like as the name implies, you see here, it goes downwards. So if you have you round down backwards towards zero, basically. So let's see what happens when we round down. Yeah, it takes in the same number of arguments like normal round. So let's see what happens when we round down to four decimal places. So you see it's hold on, someone wants to join the call. Okay. So you see it rounds down to four decimal places, but then instead of it adding a one, when you do a round up, you look at the last number you're supposed to take. We're taking four numbers, right? The last number we're supposed to take is four. We look to the right, we see that there's a number greater than five. We check if is there a number greater than five. Is there a number that is 5 or greater than 5? If there is a number that is 5 or greater than 5 next to the last number that we are taking, if we're rounding up, we add 1 to that last number. Then it becomes 6115, right? However, if it's the other way around and we are rounding down, we won't bother to add anything. We just take it like that. That's rounding down, right? So, see what happens when you do something like 6 as well. If you round down, notice that it doesn't add a 1 to it, it just leaves it as it is and takes the rest that way. Also, it doesn't decrease the value that you have here. It doesn't decrease the value as well. Rounding down, you just take what you ask it to take. It won't add a 1 to it. But if you want to round up, you can also do rounding up as well. I think by default round will just do round up. So you get let's see, does round do? I don't think round does the same thing. I mean, did it? Yeah, I think it. Yeah, by default, round will do the same thing as round up. So if you want it to five decimal places, meaning that we want our average value or whatever the value is to be more precise. So you increase the number of decimal, round up to five decimal places. So you need five. So the true value is 6116667 blah blah blah. Very very small, very very accurate and precise. That's why this value has so many numbers at the back. Now, if you round down or if you round to five decimal places, this number is less precise than this number here. That's the difference in these two. This is more precise. Anyways, that's a segue. You guys have now seen the important thing you should take away from this, even if you don't get all the rubbish I've been saying since about rounding up numbers, is you can do average. You know how average works is to take the sum, divide by a number of values you have. Then you can calculate average using the average function. Then if you need to round up or round down, you know what functions to use now. You can specify the number of decimal places. Those are the important things you need to take away from this section or this portion of our discussion so far. Sorry if that was a bit hiccupy. Anyways, we've seen how to sort. Now let's get to how we can draw charts using our tables, right? So to draw charts, first thing you do is just highlight your entire table, because your chart is based on top of your table. If you've taken a math class in secondary school, you must have done this thing called table of values, where before you draw a graph, you do um. How many of us have drawn graphs before in high school? Just raise your hand. 7 of us. Okay, 9 of us. Okay, good, good ratio. Uh, that's about half of us on the call. So basically, you can think of this as, like table of values when you want to draw a graph. Then this will be like, what do you call these things? I keep forgetting the names, but these are just labels for the things on the graph. So to draw our graph, highlight your entire table, then go to insert. Now you see there's a graph section here. Now different options of graphs that we can use. Colon, which is what we'll be using. You use, depending on what kind of data you have, the graph you choose will differ. It makes sense for us to use a what's it called, table, or sorry, a column type of, like, bar graphs. This is what they call these bar graphs in high school days, or histogram, whichever one you want. This histogram is different because they are stacked on top of each other, but these ones are the simplest ones. Use it as blah, blah. So yeah, so just click on this and it will generate a graph for you. So this graph takes the name of the column where those actual values are. Then it just knows how to label it by itself, right? So you see Henry, which is the highest number here, 7.03, just how it should be. We can obviously customize our graph. There are a bunch of other options here that allow you. If you click on formats, you see options to design your graph as well. But yeah, it does all the work for you. You don't need to do anything. Again, let's do another one for this other table. So I highlight it, go to insert. Let's see, let's pick let's see what this gives us. Let's pick a pie chart. So you pick a pie chart, you see how they are split into, it's just the same idea. So this one displays it in bar graph format, this displays it in this pie chart format. So you see which one is which here. The yellow one is the bill. The bill is this show. And you can customize these things to show you some things like percentages, how much percent does this one take or that one take. You can see all that information on here as well. Yeah, we're not gonna spend too much time on this just yet, but this is very bare base, because there's a lot to unpack from each single type of graph. We can go on and on and on about all these different types of graph, and we'll sleep here. So, but yeah, that's a very simple way to, you should play around with this graph options and see how you can, like, on your own time, see how you can use those to your advantage, right? So I'm going to stop the class here today because I need to attend to some other things. Unfortunately, your other tutor isn't yet available. But hopefully before next class, either I will continue taking it, or he will let me know sha before next class. But hopefully by next class he should be around. Um, and we are very much on track as far as curriculum is. Someone was asking when are we going to start doing SQL. There are just some few things we need to cover. So today we've done some additional introduction to functions. We've seen a number of functions that will help us, and we've done uh tables and charts, albeit not in depth, but you know the only two things that are left are conditional formatting, which is what I'll cover in next class. How to use if statements. So an if statement allows you to write conditional statements, something like this. You say if, basically putting logic into your code. Sorry, not code, but into your script, your sheets, into your Excel sheets. So you can write logic in your sheets to do perform certain options. So you see if some logical test description checks whether a condition is met and returns one value if true and another if otherwise. Example, if this is over budget, blah blah blah. We can do some interesting things with if statements in Excel. It's very much uh similar to writing if statements in programming itself. So if you've ever written code before, it's that kind of logic here. So yeah, more specifically, we also do pivot tables, data visualization. We've started data visualization a bit with these tables and charts. We'll get more in depth in the next classes, in the following classes, but it may or may not be using this pie chart or this bar graph. So we get that. So we'll be looking at how to do things like scatter plots and I guess maybe yeah, scatter plots and show things, demonstrate things like linear regression. So this is what a scatter plot will look like, something like this. So linear regression is like drawing a line to find all the points that. Remember how when you draw all those graphs, when you draw graphs in secondary school, then you draw a straight line. Then if it crosses 3 points, then you circle those points. Okay, I think well, I guess that was like in physics, yeah. Crosses 3 points, or when you want to calculate the gradient of a graph, it's not just physics. We did it in further maths too. If you wanted to calculate, this may or may not make sense to all of you, depending on if you were a arts, commercial, or whatever back then. But it's something that some of you may have done in secondary school before. So it's something similar to that as well. So we'll do that, and when we are done with those three things, that's if statements, data visualization, using those things, these chart things. It's just yeah, just two things basically. That conditional formatting and those other ones. When we're done with those, then we'll start with okay, yeah, Power Query is the next thing. Then before we can begin SQL. So yeah, those are the things I will be doing in next coming classes. Are there any questions so far from everything we did today? Oh, you sent me a okay. I'll check. Is she? No, the what's it called? That's closed now. Applications opened, closed. Did she apply? Right. Applications are okay. Let's see, Sha. Let's see. Just send me a message. I'll see what I can do. Aditola, you're raising up your hand. Do you have a question? Does anyone else have a question regarding anything we did in today's class? Oh, about the grafting, Abby. So that means everybody understands, Abby. Good. That is really good. So your assignment for today's class is to do what basically what I did here. So I want to see steps. So right, you just need one table, yeah. Just do a table like this. It doesn't have to be channels or whatever. Just make your own version or make up your own table. Something that has labels and values like this. So start with so your submission should look like you have multiple versions of the table. So the first version will be when the table is unsorted, right? So this is version you show me the table. You can label it that unsorted version, sorted version, like that. Maybe and when you put sorted, just write something like uh the order that you chose, maybe descending or ascending order. Just put it on top here. Here's what I mean. Just use these two columns on top, merge them, and just label it and say, this one would be ascending. Do you have any corrections for last time? No, not really. I mean, it looks good in my eye. I'll check. I'll check if there's any. Uh, to be fair, I have not checked all of them. I only checked like two or three. I'll check the rest, and if I find anything, I'll just mention it on the channel. But it seems like everyone did the correct thing. I mean, it's just some, so that one is not hard. Yeah, I'll check. So this is what I mean. To do label it like this, ascending order or descending order. You don't have to make for the two. If you're able to do one, it shows me that you can already do the other kind. And what I should see is that when you now sort it, it correlates with. So, for example, in here now, it's because it's sorted. If I scramble it back, let's just say this wasn't sorted. So here now, ground force is 6.71. So let's say we sorted it now in ascending order. That means that the values as we read downwards would increase, right? So this largest value should be here. If I check for ground force should still be pointing 6.71, albeit the position would have changed because it's now in ascending order. This is in descending order, right? So that's sort of thing that I should observe when I look at your sorted table, right? Now, when you've done that, calculate total and average. Then you should get some decimal. Use values that you know for sure will give you decimal numbers when you do the average of the. Typically when you do the average, there's a high chance that you get decimal values, but hopefully it's long enough. Then if you have, yeah, then just round up to four decimal places. So what I'm saying is you have totals, you have average. Make sure you use the average function. Don't do it manually. And the number of rows I expect should be, let's see, 30. Let's make it interesting. 30 rows of values. So this for me, I only did 6 here. Your own should be 30. Totals, do the total, do the average, rounded average, do that one here. Then finally, give me the charts for your table. So highlight, pick the chart, and just put it by the side. So you should have 1, 2, the total, the calculations here, then the charts. That's your assignment. Are you guys clear on what you're supposed to do? Yeah, good question. I think you just pick whichever one you feel is good. Just pick it, play around with it, and just put one chart there. I'll figure it out. Okay, if I have a question. Yeah, yeah, another assignment. Yeah, yeah, as an assignment. Yeah, you got the first part of the assignment, yeah. Okay, yeah, then use any of the charts. That's the final thing. Any other questions?
Yeah, sorry, are we still doing the two tables, the ascending order and the one that is not arranged, or we're just doing one?
Yeah, just one. I just want to see different stages of your table. So first of all, make the table. While it is unsorted, just leave it there. You can label it on top. This is where I label this one. You can put unsorted version of your table. Then now, sorted, ascending or descending, whichever one you pick, just write it there. Don't do the two. You don't have to do the two. If you do the two, it's fine, but I don't need to. Just one. If you're able to do one, then definitely you can do the other one because it's the same method. You just need to click on a different button. So you do that here, then you do the calculations, total, average, rounded average. You do that one here, and then you finally draw the chart. That's the assignment. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay. Any other any other questions? Okay, I take it. Okay.
Alright. Just to be sure, we're having classes next week, right? It's not that Friday. There's no class on Friday.
Yeah, no class on Friday.
Okay.
Yes. The only time classes
Don't
would
forget,
what?
don't forget to help me add my friends. I'll send you a message on WhatsApp. Thank you.
Oh, okay. The only time your time will change is if say I'm not available or the person I'm supposed to take you is not available, then we'll tell you when we are rescheduling to. So other than that, it's Mondays and Wednesdays. You know what? You should get marks for it. It's just I'm not the one that's supposed to be taking this track. Just that the actual tutor is like I think I need to find someone else. But anyways, yeah. The reason I'm saying I'm not the one that's supposed to do this because of the work that is involved with managing assignments and all of that. Maybe I'll just get someone to help me with this. But yeah, ideally you should get marks for the assignment, and I think it makes more sense because now it it gives an incentive for you to want to complete your assignment because positive reinforcement, I guess. So yeah, there will be marks actually, and for those that did not submit the assignment, actually from next week I'll start taking as attendance. You see that there's only 20 people on this call. Last class was 40, which was encouraging. Now it's 20. And like I said, missing a class consecutively twice results in expulsion from the program. That's still very much in play. And when we start taking attendance, it's just there's a lot of work on my table at the moment, so I haven't been really doing all of that. But very soon, we just need to have a what's it called? A proper system for taking attendance in place. Then once we have that in place, then we'll start taking attendance. Very and it's very very compulsory that you join classes. So the assignment is not as much as important, but you won't get expelled if you don't do your assignments. It's to your own benefit if you do the assignments. So, but attending classes is very compulsory. Other than that, then the other ones they're okay. But yeah, that's just I will try and award marks for the assignment, and maybe at the end of the program. Actually, yeah, I don't know if you mentioned this earlier on, but there's supposed to be a hackathon at the end of this 2 months boot camp where the hackathon is it's not just for it's a global hackathon and it's not just for people of boot camp, people that graduate from this boot camp, but we make it easier for people that finish on boot camp to sign up for the hackathon, and I guess we put you guys in your own teams, in your own separate teams, and you can compete as well for prizes in the hackathon. But that's still till like around November, October, November, sure. So the idea is you compete, you build projects that are interesting that solve problems, then you pitch in front of some judges. I think it's virtual hackathon. You pitch to some judges. If they like your idea, then they award you the winning prize. Right? So, but then you are competing against hundreds of teams sometimes, but because it's a global hackathon. But we'll let you know how it goes, Sha. Anyway, just take this opportunity as serious as you can. I understand that we're all busy, but just try. So this is where I'll end the class today. See you guys next week. I'll send another link where you make your second submission so that it doesn't mess up the folder. If I are raising up your hand, do you have a question? Assignment is due next class. Do you have a question? Just submit your mic and ask your question.
Okay, please, can you send the link of this recording now? Like, can you send it immediately, please?
I can't because I have to first of all upload it to our YouTube, then I will send it to you. So,
Okay, it's fine.
but I'll send it as soon as I can, sure. Later this night. All right. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.